We'll now proceed to the main agenda for today, AI and machine learning applications in the geoenergy industries led by Pak Abrar. Pak Abrar had career paths in both technical and management roles. With over 25 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, he began in the information management technical domain, where he successfully implemented a great number of corporate information management and also national data center projects. And his expertise includes system analysis and design, establishing and enforcing standards, policies, and procedures, and as well as leading change management initiatives. Pak Abrar have held various management positions, overseeing business operations as well as strategic roles at the headquarters level, concentrating on long-term strategy and planning as a global career and staffing manager, where he was responsible for the career development and staffing of over 4,000 employees worldwide. His assignments have taken across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, providing him with valuable insights into diverse cultures, environments, and business practices within the oil and gas sector. And currently, he is transitioning back to the technical domain, specializing in the rapidly evolving field of artificial intelligence. Please join me in welcoming Pak Abrar as the SLB AI Business Development Manager. For Pak Abrar, please, the session is yours.
Thank you, Asna. Thank you also for the opening from Taufik and Pak Rizky. I'm happy to share with you the latest and greatest that we have in AI and especially in SLB, and actually how we can utilize all of this new technology to unlock the data insights that are enabled through this technology from all of the data that we have, right? So I'm sure that all of you are familiar with generative AI. Maybe everyone had tried ChatGPT or maybe the Gemini from Google, or maybe even more of the other models. And the latest one is DeepSeek, which generates quite a lot of buzz in the world, right? So in terms of the utilization of this generative AI itself, right? So when we look at the usage across organizations globally, so this is a survey from Gartner that was done last year, surveying many of the big organizations globally, where they are saying that 40% of the enterprise applications will have conversational AI, right? So they will have some kind of chatbot that will enable more natural interaction with the enterprise applications. And 30% of those enterprise, they said that they will adopt AI augmented development and testing strategy. So if you know that one of the biggest, I guess, capability of the Gen AI is to help you actually code, create applications, and generate new stuff. So this is going to be part of the strategy of these enterprises. And even 15% of the enterprise are saying that the applications will be auto-generated by AI, right? So this is kind of exciting. Maybe some people will think about it a bit scary, right? So some people will think, oh, then what would I do if AI can do all of these things? But to be honest, you have to get on with it, right? So basically, the way we can evolve is by understanding what AI can do for us and try to optimize as much as we can to make our life much simpler, but at the same time, trying to keep up with the...
Sorry.
Yep.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Yeah, but we cannot see the share of the screen sharing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So can you see it now?
Yes, yes, clearly.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, those numbers, if you remember, it's 40%, 30%, and 15%, right? So the way it is going is that this number is going to increase by the month, I would say, right? So with the rise of generative AI, with the rise of DeepSeek, maybe there will be another model in the next few months that will taken the world by surprise again. The advancements are going to keep improving, right? So what we need to do is that we need to understand it, and we need to see how we can use this generative AI in our daily lives as well, right? If you look at the Gen AI technology pattern, so how can you make use of the Gen AI in solving the current problems, right? So we can categorize it simply into these 6 buckets, right? So the first bucket is on the structured data. So I think some of you may have tried that. You upload a document into ChatGPT, and then you can start asking ChatGPT to extract some information from those documents, maybe process some information from those documents quickly, right? So that's where it could help in accelerate data transformation, right? So it's either data processing or enriching the data that you already have. At the same time, using the same technique, you can also talk to your data, right? When you look at just one document, maybe you can start asking it to summarize your document, or maybe searching some of the information using natural language. When you add a folder, or maybe a storage in the cloud into your Gen AI, then you can start uncovering a lot of information quite quickly, right? So you don't have to read through all of those documents. And this is very useful, for example, when you want to start doing a study, right? A field study, or even your own study, right? And then I think the most popular one would be the answer chatbot, right? So I think everyone, when you use the ChatGPT, the first interface that you are going to use is the chatbots, right? The more advanced users may be able to use the agents, right? So create your own agents to actually becoming smarter in getting the answers from your data. So you're not only just asking one question, but actually the agents itself will try to build the answer that really is going to be what you're looking for, right? I've talked about code generation, so how you can actually just talk to the database, and the database will generate the query and execute the query for you, even to the point that the resulting data could be analyzed for you, right? And this is where we turn into the analytics on the bucket number 5, where not only it can answer the question, but it has also logics that you can build in. Actually, some of the logics have been built in to do statistical analysis, maybe to do some computation as well, right? And then on the last bucket is where you can have the data generation. You can create new images, you can create new data, new video, and this is borderline magic, where you can actually do the deepfake video or deepfake audio as well. And that's basically enabling many things, right? From the positive things to the negative things, but obviously this is where we need to be careful on how we use the technology, okay? So when we look at the use in our domain, right? When a domain expert is trying to analyze or trying to come up with a decision, right? So these are the typical path that they will have to go through. The first step is to find the required data, right? So once they get the data that they need, then they start to interpret or augment the data, right? And then once they have the data and the data is ready to be interpreted, they can have different ways of work steps or different work steps to get to the desired outcome, right? And once they have defined what are the work steps required, then they can use engines or tools to start working with the data itself, right? After the computational tools is completed, or maybe some engines that they need that they use completed their tasks, then the results will be analyzed, and they may consult the experts for advice, let's say, or maybe basically the someone who's more familiar with the data, or someone who's more familiar with the area of interest that they're looking at, right? As an optional steps, they may also need to integrate with the other domains as well for collaborative discussions before they come to the decisions, right? When we look at some of these steps, obviously the work steps could be the right work steps, or could be improved further. So there is iterations that also needs to happen, right? And also analyzing the results, there are iterations that needs to happen as well. So with the advent of AI, what AI can help is that they can start looking at the data using natural language processing, or maybe translating natural language to SQL, and then they can use AI also to contextualize the data. So put the data in the right place, make sure that the data is correct, and also for the interpretation or augmenting the data, they can use also some of the AI or ML solutions, like the visions or time series machine learning, deep learning, or even text analysis if they deal with unstructured data, right? But the decision to define what are the work steps for the desired outcome still need to happen with the domain experts themselves, right? And also they're still using the various the various engines that they need to do, and they on the analysis of the results, they can also get the support from the AI that can help them in doing the trend analysis, maybe anomaly detection or sentiment analysis before they come up to a decision, right? With the Gen AI, now it's getting more interesting, because then you will have an assistance also that could help you in actually identify the best work steps for the desired outcomes. The Gen AI could help the users to actually orchestrate the various engines using the domain agents, right? The domain assistants will be able to help the domain expert to actually advise on whether the results is good or not, or even advising if there are some improvements that needs to be made on the results as well, right? Using the foundation models, we could easily do the integrated reservoir studies because that enables a better collaborations between the the domains as well, right? So what it enables right now is that all of the work steps, all of the paths has been automated. So at the same time, with multiples of this enabled, then you see that more efficient work steps or more efficient path to decisions can be made and multiplied by having access to different data, different systems, and different domains as well, right? So this is where we see that the technology actually is going to be really, really important. The Gen AI is going to be really, really key to optimize and to help us in getting more efficient, getting to the answers faster, and hopefully getting to a better decision as well, right? If you look at how SLB is using the Gen AI at the moment, we can segregate it into 5 different categories. So the first one is, as with any other applications, we want to make sure that the applications that we have is going to be easier to use, right? So enabling the chatbot into our application is to make sure that we have a human-centric approach to interact with our products, right? So instead of looking through manuals, to see how you can accomplish certain tasks, you can just ask the chatbot and it will tell you how to do that, right? But with the assistant, it's going to be even further improving the process, because the assistants then will be able to help you to execute some of the tasks, right? To advise you on what would be the optimum way of accomplishing what you need to do. And then with the workflow automation, it basically can do things for you, right? So not only it allows you to know how things are going to be done, it actually helps you in running it for you, right? And then with the SME agents, so this is where the advisory role can take place as well. We have accumulated a lot of knowledge in many documents, in many SharePoint files. So getting those into the knowledge bank basically helps to do that, right? And then the last one, in the last category, we are also developing what we call a domain foundation models. Right now, we are building seismic foundation models, log foundation models, and time series foundation models. So if you are not familiar with foundation models, typically when you are chatting with ChatGPT, the foundation model that you're using is a text foundation model or language foundation model. And basically, the foundation model is being trained on billions and billions of texts that it found on the internet, right? So what we do is that instead of using text as the input for the foundation model, we are using seismic data as the input for foundation model. So it speaks the language of seismic. Instead of using text, we are using log data from hundreds or thousands of wells into our log foundation model. So it understands the language of logs. And I will show you some of the example of how it's been applied, right? So these are just a couple of videos that I want to show how we are actually putting together the components of generative AI and how it can actually help in improving the experience, improving the process, and also making sure that the users are being supported in this, right? So this is the video where I'm showing here is with the TechLog applications that we have. Mainly is being used to do log processing and log analysis. So on the right side here, we have some assistance that is created. So data import assistant, Python scripting assistant, we have application assistant. This is like help, but it's better. Workflow generation assistant, and also log foundation model. So in this example, I'm going to show how the workflow generation assistant helps actually looking or creating the workflows in TechLog. So calculating the permeability usually takes a lot of effort from the petrophysicists, because depending on the log set that they have, the way to calculate permeability could be different. So what we did here is that we are looking at all of the logs that you have in this project and group them together, right? And from this grouping, it will automatically generate how it's supposed to calculate permeability. And then the user can just execute the workflow and then get the results they want quickly, right? So this is one way of doing that. So the second way, the second one is I want to show is on the scripting assistant, right? So basically, in this case, the user just type what they want the script to do, and the Gen AI understands what needs to happen and basically construct the Python script that is understood by TechLog, right? And put it into the scripting module of TechLog. So basically, the users can then just launch and it actually create what the user is trying to do here, right? So those are the two examples that I wanted to show. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? So there are more things to come. And there are other ways that we can actually improve and basically make sure that the generative AI is not only becoming something that is niche or nice to have, but is going to be an integral part of our technology. So this is showing TechLog, but we are doing the same thing for Petrel. We are doing the same thing for the production suite that we have as well. All right. So with that, I would like to conclude my presentation by saying that if we combine human ingenuity with advanced technology, it is the key to overcoming challenge from discovery to production. So this is the thought that I think I will leave you with. I hope that this will inspire you in putting your ideas into the execution for this hackathon. And good luck with your hackathon. Thank you. Going back to you, Hasna.
Okay, thank you, Pak Abrar, for sharing your expertise. We will now move on to the Q&A session, which will last for 10 minutes. And as a reminder, please use the raise hand feature to ask questions to Pak Abrar. And if your microphone is not working, feel free to type your questions in the chat box.
I guess it's very clear or maybe confused.
Bisa tanya pakai bahasa Indonesia kan Pak Brar?
Boleh, boleh.
Boleh. Ya, please please feel free to ask ya. Silakan tanya dengan bahasa Indonesia.
Excuse me, am I audible?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, Pak Abrar. My name is Adam Maulana, and I am from Universitas Gadjah Mada. So, my main question is that like I'm generally curious on how SLB develops their AI in the sense of like do they develop their models in house? And my follow-up question is that like how do you how do you generally benchmark your models in these type of software, since I'm assuming that these are like unique software that are not like oftenly distributed or like publicly distributed. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam, for the question. So that's a good question. So we are our development strategy for the generative AI models. There are two different strategies that we take, right? So for the language model or vision model, which is the image model, what we do is that we take the existing model that is available in the market. It could be the Hugging Face model. So we are using Mistral model. We're using Llama. We are using other models as well. And we fine tune those models with the oil and gas language, right? Because if you look at the models that are available now, to a degree, you can ask the questions on the oil and gas terms, but sometimes it can get confused as well. So, but they have a very good understanding about language. So we don't want to retrain them on the one that they are very good at already. We just fine tune the model that just to add a layer that will enable them to understand the oil and gas language better, right? Now, for the models that is not readily available commercially, as I mentioned before, like seismic foundation model. So seismic data, SEC-Y files, SEC-D files, right? There is nothing like that in the market. So what we did is that we train them from scratch. So we take the seismic data that we have, and then we put it into the transformer models. And we do have a significant capacity for compute that we use, and we are actually building the model. using that techniques, right? Now, on the second question that you have, so how do we validate it, right? So obviously, and this is the same reason why ChatGPT is being made available freely as well. The one that will be validating the results are the users. So the more users using it, it will get validated. So if you see the ChatGPT, you have the option to say yes, or the option to say that the results is good or the results is bad. So this is going to be taken back by the team to keep fine-tuning and retraining the model. So we cannot say that the first model that we are going to build is going to answer everything, but it's a journey, right? The more users, the more active the usage is, the faster we can actually improve the quality. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, sir. That has been very clear to me.
Yeah. Taufik, you have question? Not hard question. I hope.
No, not for you, my friend. It's not really a question, but it's kind of I want you to voice something to the audience in a form of question and answer. In my various engagements with customers, also with friends when we are having a dinner or just sharing a coffee, it comes quite often that the use of AI will replace and take the jobs of the humans. And being or having this in mind may restrict significantly the innovation and the will of our talents to really express themselves and use the AI at its full capacity. So, what would you say about this?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question or comment, and basically it's a lot of those in other people's mind as well, right? If I want to draw a parallel on the AI revolution, I would say it's similar to the revolution of computer, right? So at the time, a lot of the work has been done without computer and been replaced by computer. Now we think that computer is common or is a way of life, right? But at that time, it was not. Some of the jobs will be replaced with automation. Some of the jobs will be replaced with the AI. But there will be other jobs created with this, right? So it's our responsibility to actually follow along the technology to make sure that whatever we do, we understand where it is going and we be ready for what changes will be needed, right? To give you an example, I think in Indonesia, probably 6, 7 years ago, we still have a lot of people on the toll booth collecting money from the drivers, right? But then, because of the automation, because of the technology, the touchless payment system, none of those are there anymore, right? But the company that operates the toll booth actually is doing the people upskilling program, right? So basically, they are trying to make sure that whoever job is being replaced will be upskilled to actually being able to perform in other roles as well. That says that, okay, people will change, people will have to change, and people will have to make sure that they are up to date with the latest, so they can adapt to it, right? So adapting to changes is the key.
Yeah. So then let me close this discussion between two friends with these few words. Okay. So listen up, everyone, and please listen carefully my words, because everyone means something. People with sorry, AI will not replace people. Okay. But people with AI knowledge will replace people without AI knowledge. This is something inevitable and coming. And if we don't embrace it, the entire country will lose its competitiveness against its neighbors, specifically that the energy, the oil and gas industry is very competitive. That's what I would say to say. There is no issues with the ethics on using AI. Embrace it fully and give all the maximum you have. Thanks, Abrar.
You're welcome. That's a good summary. Okay,
Silakan, Mas
Yusuf,
Yusuf.
you have a question?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Abrarriadi, for all the materials. I just quick check your LinkedIn and I found that you are previously study computer engineering. So, but most of us, I believe most of us, is currently taking maybe petroleum engineering or like chemical engineering or other engineering in as our course of study. So is there any suggestion from you as an AI development manager for, like Mr. Taufik said earlier, that people with AI will substitute people without AI. So how people with chemical or maybe petroleum background keep in pace with, I don't know, people, maybe people that have background for computer engineering or maybe data science to compete in specifically energy industry. Do you have any suggestion for us to
Yeah.
maybe the starting point? Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, that's a very, very good and very valid question, right? To be honest, I've known a lot of people in the AI space that actually coming from the domains, from the chemical engineering, from the geophysics, from the geology, from the petroleum engineering, right? To upskill from the domain to the AI is easier than to upskill from the AI or from the computer science to the domain side. Believe me, because it took me years to actually understand oil and gas business as well, right? But it took the domain expert less than a year to actually being able to do something with AI. So this is your advantage actually, right? And there is a lot of resources that you can use to actually start getting your hands dirty with AI, I would say, right? So some of the resource is like I actually tried it also. It's called deeplearning.ai. So this is a training website, right? And it's free. Where it actually teach you skills in digital, in AI, in all of this new technology, and one course takes about 2 to 4 hours. If you want to start, there is a course on Python that will, I think, take you about 3 to 4 hours to go through. And the way they teach you to code in Python is to use Gen AI. So basically, I do it myself, right? So right now, if I want to create a code, I don't start from scratch. I just go to ChatGPT and say, okay, I want to do this, 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 and this. Can you create me a script, right? And then I run it. I have issue or have error. I copy and paste that error to ChatGPT and ask, okay, what's wrong? It will also suggest me how to fix the issue, right? So there are plenty of resources that you can use, and probably I can share later those resources. But yeah, for you to upskill to get to the AI path is going to take a lot less than the other way around.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Abrarriadi. Maybe I want to ask another question, if you may.
Sure.
Okay, so the main concern about AI in the maybe in the energy industry or maybe specifically in petroleum and geothermal energy is the lack of open source data because I believe it is confidential, especially for SLB. So for the hackathon, is there any possibility that SLB will release any data for us to fine tuning maybe our fine tuning the LLM for specific kind of work that our code is running?
Okay. So we've actually used a lot of public data for our, let's say, experimentation as well. You can find public data from New Zealand government. You can get the public data from Australia government, US government, definitely. There is plenty of data that you can use. Statoil or Equinor now at that time also release the data, the complete data that they have for one field in Norway into a public domain as well. So you can download that. I think it's the field is called Wolf Field. So you can use that, right? Maybe Olia, you can add a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you
yeah.
so much,
I'm
Mr.
gonna take over just a bit for that answer, right? So, yeah, actually, for the hackathon, if we're about to enter the final round, we will give out list of public data. So we have gathered all of the public data available for you to use. May it be coming from the full data set, may it be coming from Australia, from the UK, from the North Sea, or even the IODP, which is the drilling campaign that has been going on around the world. So we have collected those sets of public data and we will give it to you, as well as we will also give to you the ideas that you can do with those public data as well. So do not worry. In this hackathon, you will get lots of public data gathered for you in the final round. But yeah, thank you for the question, and we will discuss this in more depth in the next section.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Abra and Mr. Aulia.
Welcome. Adam?
First of all, I'd like to please pardon me for going 4 seconds in this case. So, but I'd like to ask to
worries.
Mr. Mr. Abrar and potentially Mr. Tofik as well. So, I guess to add up from Mas Yusuf's perspective and to see from the other side, right? Let's say I am someone, a fresh graduate who wants to join SLB in, like, let's say the AI Business Development Division or the Digital and Integration Division. But in this case, I'm someone who is from the Computer Science department. So, for me personally, I do not have much obviously formal education when it comes to petroleum engineering and so on and so forth. And to you, what are your general expectations to the people, the likes of me, where we can say that like petroleum engineering, open source learning sessions aren't as readily available. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I'll answer that first, and then maybe Tofik can add. So we will need both types of people, right? So the domain experts will be able to start an experiment. Will be able to, let's say, play with the AI part into the domain that they have, into the domain challenge that they have, but when it gets into deep down, let's say deep learning portion, or maybe even in the operationalization of the AI model themselves, this is something that they will have to hand over to someone with a computer science or data science background, right? Because they understand deep down in the theory of the deep learning, let's say, right? And the theory or the practical applications of computing in running the models themselves, right? So yeah, we will need both, and we do have a big technology centers. Where in the technology centers, what we have is mainly computer science people and also data science people.
Mungkin ucapan sudah cukup bisa kami cukupkan. Terima kasih banyak Kak Mary, Kang Ridho, Kang Yesya
I think the Q&A session's already coming to an end, Pak Abrar.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.